Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for joining me. Once again, I'm your host, Derek Lane. Another edition of the Fast Lane, your podcast for success. I welcome all of my Fast Lane friends, and thanks for the emails and the questions, and I very much appreciate it. So let's jump into this and get this week's podcast started. So there is a force in the universe that makes things happen, and all we have to do to tap into this, let it. And hopefully some of you guys will remember that quote. It's from a great movie, from the movie Caddyshack back in the day. Chevy Chase playing Ty Webb. Yeah, I was a kid. But it's interesting because the other night that it was on, it was late, and I thought, I'm going to sit here and relax. And I remember this movie, and I love it. And that part came up. And then, he says there's a force in the universe that makes things happen. All we have to let go. And I thought, what I thought at the time was a quirky, ad-lib line, that kind of assisted in the moment of the movie. But I'm thinking, it's much more than that. It runs deeper. And that's what I'm talking about sometimes, that, you can see things, hear things, read things that at the moment is what it is. It's for the moment. But later, you get something out of it. Many times I've read a book to a speech, heard an author, lecture or speech, and I go back and revisit it, and I'm, okay, yeah, I get that. Because we can process so much in our brain at one time that when there's information overload, some of it's not going to get in. Some of it's not going in. You're only going to get a certain amount. There's a lot of information thrown at you. So, that's why you got to listen to the Fast Lane over and over, right? Tell your friends. So it got me to thinking about that quote from that movie, and I'm searching my memory banks, and I'm thinking, oh, you know what? Yeah, I do remember. There's a quote by Gandhi, and the quote is, "There's a force in the universe which, if we permit, it will flow through us and produce miraculous results." Let me say it again. There is a force in the universe which, if we permit it, it will flow through us and produce miraculous results. Again, Gandhi, pretty smart guy, so you got to take heed with that. So it just kind of goes to prove that, when you pay attention, when you're looking at things out there, you can start to see things in a different way. And again, it goes back to when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. There's always a lesson somewhere, some way to enlighten yourself, to develop yourself, educate yourself, and to process things a little differently than maybe you did before. Always pay attention to the signs. They're out there. Positive signs and negative signs. Sometimes the negative signs are there to keep you from getting in trouble, right? To going down a path that will only lead to, heartbreak and stress. The positive signs are to guide you and to encourage you. So they go both ways. And there's a podcast you'll have to go back quite a bit where I talk about some modalities, the pleasure and pain principle, and the signs kind of work with that. That whole concept, if you will, that you're moving toward or you're moving away. You're influenced by positive, you're influenced. Signs in your life and the spiritual signs and things that you're doing, it's always going to be one of these. So with that, also I would ask you to really work on your perception. Learn to frame your perception, build your own perception, because so many times it's given to us to a degree. I mean, we all build our, but it's influence. Your influence perception has so many variables of influence that you need to be aware of it so you can control it more. I know we've all read or watched the movie The Matrix, and red pill, blue pill. You take the red pill and things aren't, what you thought they were and all that. And it's kind of like that, maybe not that dramatic and science fiction-y, but to a degree, if we learn to understand our own perception model, we can actually alter our perception. It's been said, what's the hardest thing to do? Change perception or change reality? Well, change perception is harder. So you have to really be aware of your perception and your models. Your perception is based, first off, there's different levels of how our perception is framed. The five senses come into play. Predominantly the vision, the hearing, and the sense feeling. The kinesthetic, feeling, auditory, and visual elements of your senses really come into play. And if anybody's familiar with neuro-linguistic programming, I would encourage you to do that if you haven't. Then you understand what I'm talking about with the senses and the inner, outer, and how to read that. Won't get into that. But and then also, taste and smell round out your five senses. So those start to build your perceptions. Your attention. Again, kind of talking about signs and what we focus on. We all have likes and dislikes. Some people may love broccoli while other people think it's the grossest thing on earth. Why? We're all really the same, person, but we do things so much. Why is one person's favorite color red and the other one's blue? It's just who you are, and there's so many variables of your perception. It's what you focus on. Next is your stimuli. Stimuli based on repetition, intensity, change, and your intention. What do you intend to do? What is your hopes? How will you change this? How will your stimuli change? Hot, cold, soft, hard, light, dark. Things change. Intensity changes. So your perception can change on stimuli. Organization is another way. It's how your brain really sorts out some of the things that you're focused on. Interpretation, how feedback is processed, how it makes us feel, how endorphins in the brain, your brain is popping. You like it, you don't. It makes you feel good, makes you feel bad, and then influences itself. Past situations, your assumption of things, traits, your character traits, your education, your parental influence, your upbringing, even the concept of self, ego, I won't super ego and all that, but your self-concept plays a part. Your culture, your faith, your values, your circumstances, all play a part in this whole framework of your perception. What does it mean? I can dig deep, but I don't think you tuned into the podcast to, get into, the whole science of the jargon and all of that. Basically, what we want to know is, what are we going to do to create a success path? What are we going to do to better ourselves? And why am I talking about perception? And why am I talking about the force of the universe? What does that mean? Where does it even come from? Is it a construct? Maybe. But sooner or later, you got to put your faith into something. You got to put your mind right. Know that there's frequencies and vibrations, and that whole law of attraction, you give is what you get type of thing. What you put your energies into. It is important to put your energies in the right manner. It is important to send out the right. If you send out grumpy, hateful, I hate everybody and everything, that's what you're going to get back. Now, I'm not saying you got to be a kumbaya, hold my hand, and let's chant all the time. I'm not that person either. But I truly do care about my society, my community, my family, my friends, organizations in which I'm involved with, the people I interact with. I do care. I want to help people reach their potential or beyond their potential, what they even think is their potential or what could be their potential. You can keep going. Once you've achieved something, there always is more. That's the thing about the universe expanding. You can't see the end of it. There's always more. You got to keep going. Your mind is the universe. It's infinite. Perception. Everything that is in your mind. Everything that is in your mind. Everything that you perceive, you built it. You own it. It's you. You've got this miraculous ability to create things around you, good, bad, and it doesn't. You created it. You got help along the way, but you own it. You were told that when you were little, you're ugly, you're fat, or you're skinny, you got a big nose, you got stupid hair. If you believe all, it will haunt you. But if you believe in you and the power of you and the power of your energy and your positive and the power that you can make a difference and you too can change lives, then believe it. Live that way. Live with that promise that you can change other people's life. You can change other people's perception. You can provide the force in the universe that allows things to happen. Nature is not capricious. It will not offer things and not let you have. Nature doesn't produce oranges and never let you taste. Nature doesn't produce bread. Nature doesn't produce honey and never let you taste, never let you sample it. If it's out there, you can have it. Train yourself. Understand it was meant for you. It's your perception of. If your perception of life is being, this bad person that, they get their high from being mean to other people and they're on a power trip and their power is harmful to other people, you're not fulfilling your soul, your intentions, the reason that you were put on this. If you like power, understand the power of being a positive person, a positive influence, a positive mentor. When you earn respect, that's power. It's been said that a man convinced against his will is of the same opinion still. You can't make people love you. You can't make people respect you. Oh, you may say you can, But unless you do it with coming at people with the right energy, positive energy, it's never going to happen. Anyway, enough about that. Your journey, your positive framework journey begins today with this podcast, with this message. Go out, understand your vibrations, raise them. Do one thing from now on every day that makes you a better human being. I don't care what it is. Even if it's just the intent, the want, the desire to be that better person, and to know that you're going to work on it, to know that you're going to write it down, to know that you're influencing people in a positive manner. Do something every day to be that better person. All right, I think, kind of covered this. I appreciate you staying with me on this, and I just want you to have such a wonderful, wonderful week, and we'll do another one next week. We'll talk about some other things that helps us on our journey of success. Remember, if you have somebody that you think would benefit from the podcast, please share it with them and let them know it's on all of the major outlets, iHeart, iTunes, Stitcher, Spreaker, Google Play. It's all out there. Just let them know that they can find it. If you have a question, obviously you can email me. You know that. Once again, that email is Derek@FastlanePodcast.com. Derek@FastlanePodcast.com. I appreciate the response. I appreciate the listenership. And just have a great and wonderful day. And thank you all so much.